Hi, my name is Robbie. I'm product manager here at Augment. This is a video to run you through our OAuth integration and try to go through all of the, OAuth objects that we use. So I've reset the environment, reset my account so that it should prompt us for all of them. So to give you a bit of an overview, what Augment is a multi-tenant platform to do SaaS management for MSPs. And in doing that, so currently, as you can see on screen, we have a Microsoft 365 integration already in production live. And we are working on a Google Workspace integration. This allows them to, efficiently manage multiple customers in a multi-tenant environment, which we are. I'll run through that with you, and then as well as do specific actions for common tasks out of our application. So the first thing they do is go and create their companies in the product. So these are the MSP's different customers. So for example, company one, demo company. Then we'd move over to the integration section, choose which company we want to integrate. So you can integrate your own internal company as well. So I'll do that. So we are Augment. I'll connect the integration here and we'll get prompted for OAuth through the Google Workspace API. So quick run through here. I'm sure you're able to see this, but manage users on domain, view data transfers between users on the organization, view and manage data transfer between users in your organization, view and manage group subscriptions on your domain, view and manage G Suite licenses for a domain, view groups on the domain, view and manage the provisioning of groups on the domain, view and manage the provisioning of users on your domain, manage data access permissions for users on your domain, manage drafts, and send emails. Maybe this will be a good place to try and iterate where we use each of these, and then I can run through the product just so I don't miss it when I'm going through the product. Manage users is because we want to allow the adding users, removing users, resetting passwords, et cetera. Data transfer because we we allow the removal of users through the product, and then we got to be able to transfer the data to another user for best practices. This is likely, similar scenario here, so we don't actually allow the product for the person to go in and see their files. But when we're removing a user, they got to be able to take their files and give them to the manager, the other employee, et cetera. Manage groups is just an efficiency thing, so that again our MSPs can add users to groups upon requests. Licensing is so that we can, upon request, add a user to we'll call them new subscriptions. View groups on the domain to see which groups are available, so we can list them in the product. I believe, same for the managing and provisioning of the groups here on the domain. Very similar for the provisioning of users. We want to be able to add users in the product, remove users, and view some of those details around those users, and display their licensing, display their MFA status, so that the MSP can keep their environment secure. Manage data access permissions. Yes, again, I believe that is for the transferring of the data, so we know who has access to the data. And then managing drafts and sending emails is because when they perform these actions, a notification gets sent back to the user to let them know these things have happened. So if we're creating a new user, a notification will get sent out to a manager or the technician that created it, depending on the options they choose. If a password is reset for a user, an email will get sent confirming that this password has been changed, et cetera. Hopefully I didn't sit on the integration screen too long. Let's see here. Okay, so we've got a successful integration. They can come in and they can remove the integration at any point in time they choose as well. Now this integration does two things. So two more high-level things. It'll populate a list of employees for this company by polling all the list of and discovering the list of users within Google Workspace. Now, of course, you won't be able to tell the difference of which is which here because we also have an M365 integration, but it populates this list. Then we can go into the Engage section. And we'll switch over to Google Workspace, and you'll see here that that same list of employees will have been populated on this screen, which is the one that would have appeared in the list of employees. And then from here, so we poll on a daily basis. We do a discovery so that we can regather all this information, update the screens, etc. Make sure we have the right set of employees, any license changes, groups, MFA status, sign-in, account suspension status, etc., etc. And then they're allowed to manage from here. So they can add a user, and they can do this either by choosing an employee from the existing list. So employees, while they can be synced through the Google Workspace OAuth, they can also be manually added in our product, and then they could choose to take that employee, turn it into a Google Workspace account that's enabled, or they could just create a brand new employee, which will add them both in our product and create the Google Workspace user at the same time. So we'll add, so we just added a user. Now we can select the domain from the list that we've read and create their username/email. By default, this is not selectable, so we best practice is just get it to generate a password. And then I can choose to either send this information directly to myself as a technician that the account was created, so get that validation, or send it to employee like their manager just by picking from the list of users that we have in our product. And then I can immediately add that person to groups. So we've read the groups, and then the MSP will have been informed by the manager. She needs access to XYZ, etc., and they'll add them to the appropriate groups based on that. Oops. So I'll select two groups here. Now we show the products that we're able to discover. We do this by, on our initial discovery, we see all the products that are assigned to people currently. And then based on that, we go, okay, they must have access to these subscriptions. They need to have a basic license. So we kind of hard code that in. And then we allow them to choose some of the sub products. This does leave a caveat that if they have a subscription but haven't already licensed a user, it doesn't show up in this list, but that seems to be a limitation of the way we can invoke the APIs. We can't just know what subscriptions are enabled for an organization at this time. Then we give them a quick review and finish, go and review all the things that you've chosen to do. We click next, and then it all executes. So it adds the user, adds them to their group, so fires off the email, et cetera, and gives a confirmation of that. So we should now be able to actually find that user. So yeah, in this case, sorry, we're still in testing and we're trying to get this submitted, but the user would typically refresh here automatically. In our current scenario, it'll only pick up on the next day. To run you through some of the other actions that exist, so the little key here allows you to reset the password. So using the same feature functionality that you saw during the add user, but it's specifically a targeted action to say for this bar walker user, we want to reset their password, and we just hit the reset. It'll give a confirmation, and again, I'll get an email confirming that that's been done. The additional actions here, so unsuspend sign-in. So this user is suspended at the time, and I can remove that suspension. and the user should now be able to log in. And obviously the inverse is when they are not suspended, then we can go ahead and do so. So if an account has been hacked or whatnot, we see malicious activity, the user can just go in, or maybe laptop stolen, et cetera, et cetera. We can, so I've shown you the reset password. We can sign user out of all applications. So again, we may want to suspend an account, and if there's, if this is a hacked account, kick everyone out. So we're just going to sign out of all the sessions. So I've had a failure here, obviously, but that is the goal of this as we go through and QA and solve all these issues. For the sake of trying to show you in the video, I'll see if I can do it on this user. Yeah, there we go. So it may have to do with a conflict between the suspension. So the user's been signed out of all his apps. Can manage groups. So similar to as you saw in the add user. So we can see that this user currently has these groups assigned. Then I can go ahead and remove one. But at the same time, I could say I want to add him to another group that he's not currently part of. So maybe this user's moving departments, promotion, or just they're adding groups and they're adding more complexities to the environment, and they need to manage the users within them afterwards. And then, as usual, confirmation that the user was added to a specific group and removed from another one. We can do the same thing in bulk as well. So Bar Walker and Grape Juice here, they can manage groups in bulk, and we'll see what the common groups are, and we're able to remove them from a common group, and we're able to add them to a group as well. So this is a bulk action, and it's our only bulk action at this time, is the adding and removal of groups. And we can also manage licensing. So again, same thing you've seen earlier. This person has both Google Workspace Business Standard and Google Vault, so I can remove the Google Vault aspect of this. Oh, and again, unfortunately, a small bug. And something we'll solve. But again, that's the point of this video, is to show how and where we're trying to use the OAuth, and these things will be caught in regression. But that's the idea, is that you can simply manage the licenses there. And the last one here, the last action we have in the product, is the ability to remove a user. We from a security perspective, the way the MSPs like to do this, and it can obviously depend on the situation, but say someone's getting fired. The first thing, they've just been told, like, do this now. So the first thing they want to do is reset the password, suspend the user, and sign the user out of all the applications. And then typically there may be a little delay of, okay, now we got to like take his files, assign him to someone else, and do all the good stuff. So that action has already been processed. It's done. It's not pending to be done when I next. It's actually done, fired off. That user can no longer sign in. Now they can say, okay, I want to transfer the data, or I don't want to. If I do, choose who it's going to. So obviously we'd be, and typically we wouldn't be merging an M365 account here with the Google Workspace, but we have in this case, so it obviously adds dirty data. So we'll have to, again, clean that up, but trying to pick the right account. Augment test should be one. So this is the employee that I'll be wanting to transfer the data to, and then what do we want to transfer? Basically everything as an example here, and then we can say delete the employee after removing the license, which not only removes them from Google Workspace, it actually removes them from our Augment product as well, so from our platform. So review and finish as usual, and we proceed with the removal of the user. And this one is still in works, actually, so that's why it wouldn't pass at this time. This is still under development, but again, we want to be able to submit our application. It requires a video, so I'm just running you through all the things that our product product's intentions are by using all of the different OAuth areas. So I hope this meets the needs of the requirement. Thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated.